but God was telling me to go one way. And so it got to a place where I felt like I was just kind of losing it. I was like in a season of confusion. Felt like money was coming in my hands and going out the window. And I just had to really, I started losing, in addition to taking a leave of absence from my job, my lights were getting cut off, my water was on the way off, my car was being repossessed, and I had no money for anything. And so I really just had to sit down and, talk to God and just be like, okay, God, like I know that you've called me to do certain things. I know that, my journey is in entrepreneurship. But maybe it's something I'm not doing right because you said the blessings of the Lord make it rich and add no sorrow. So why am I broke? Like, why am I sitting here? Just really trying to figure out life and put things back together. And I just, I think it was like 2:42 on November 2nd. I know for sure it's 2:42 a.m. on November 2nd. When I watched them pull my car out the driveway, I was literally sitting in my living room, like, okay, God, like now what? What do we do? I didn't really want to be in a season where, I had to call parents or family or friends to help me out. I really wanted to get to a place where I asked God to get me out of the situation that I was in. And so as I was sitting there and just kind of praying, I asked him, what are we going to do now? What are you going to do? And he said, write the book. And it was something that had been in my heart for a while. But I wasn't really sure if that was my path because I knew I wasn't a writer. And I was asking him like, okay, so what does that mean? Write the book. Where do I get the material? And then he started reminding me of like all the blogs that I had written and, just kind of putting them together to really tell the story when I put them together, I'm like, oh, like, I guess this really does tell the story of my life, like the journal prompts that I was writing about. And next thing I
Right.
know, I get a email about a self publishing workshop, and next thing you know, I'm an author,
There you go.
an award winning author.
He Yes, yes, yes. She is definitely a DAG award-winning author, but he's not gonna just put you through it without pulling you through it at the same time. We have some people here, Latanya, Shanette, and Farron. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. But writing during one of the darkest seasons of your life must have been. We hear that it was challenging, and we know that it inspired you to keep going during that time. The Prettiest Woman is rooted in the message that true beauty starts within. How does this theme play out in your own story and in the book?
Well, so very great question. It makes me grateful that a lot of the circumstances that I encountered, even though it hurt me, to not retaliate, not to get angry, to not get bitter, like it really helped me just to be grateful about who God created me to be. Somebody who prides herself on moving forward in kindness. And that's not to say that I was kind all the time, or like I never had an attitude. Like I just went through this dark seasons, like all perky, but it really just helped me maintain, my character and who he created me to be. I think that I found out that the beauty within myself were those characteristics. The fact that I do really aspire to treat people, how I want to be treated, or just really represent him well. And so there were plenty of times that I wanted to fight back naturally, but it was scripture that gave me confidence that you don't really have to. Vengeance is mine, said the Lord. I will repay. I will fight your battle. So really, all you have to learn to be still, trust me, and then move forward. And so, really relying on that kind of helped me decide, like, okay, yeah, I am okay. There are things of people that are dealing with themselves, and I can go forward and be happy. And like, of course, I say I got to meet great people, and doors were opening for me. And I could only
Yeah,
imagine, like,
the
had
doors
I
were
been
open.
angry and spent my time focusing on those trials or those circumstances, like, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. I would be still somewhere trying to fight a battle that he told me he already won. So,
Right. So you describe in your book The Prettiest Woman as a collective story for all women who face life's challenges. How do you hope readers will collect or connect with this message? And what was your
um,
biggest challenge during self-publishing?
So what I hope that people will receive from my book is to basically to persevere. Just keep going. Really understand that the things that you went through are not happening to you, but they're happening for you. And like I said, like if you don't focus
Okay.
on those circumstances, if you don't spend your time, sitting around wondering like, woe is me, why is this happening to me? Then, you too can become, the prettiest woman. So I tell people all the time, the prettiest woman is not somebody who is beautiful on the outside. The world that we live in today glorifies outer beauty, but who are you? Who are you? Are you being the person that God created to be? Are you operating in good character and like being a representative and a role model? So that's
So as
really
a
what. Huh, I'm
As
sorry.
a first time author, what was your biggest challenge during your self publishing?
So my biggest challenge during self-publishing was believing that I was not convincing myself that this was something that I was supposed to be doing, that this was something that God really wanted me to do, and not just another bright idea that I had come up with. There were a lot of moments I was like, Shayna, girl, you're not a writer. Like, what are you doing? Really just trying to talk myself out of moving forward with the project.
Mhm.
But I had to realize that the blessing was going to come from the obedience of me, right? Like, even I would rather have written